Oh, here we are, coming in.
Oh, lovely.
So this is where we do the singing. This is the booth.
Oh, it's really lovely. Every time you say goodbye. I think I'm really happy with that.
Bluebell Notes podcast is brought to you courtesy of Long Way Home Productions, the friendly home of recording in Sussex. At your place or ours, together we'll make your music really shine.
Hello.
Oh, that was supposed to be a... we're never...
You blew it already.
Never going to get this right.
Sorry, I forgot.
That's all right. Okay, let's pretend I've just done this. And,
Hello.
That's really high. Hello.
Oh, I think we clipped it. That was a very long no. Have you been singing Lovely Day recently? Practicing. Or Praise You by Fat Boy Slim. I praise you like I should.
Yeah, but he cheats, doesn't he?
Does
Fat Boy
that's,
Slim?
Oh, does he? Oh.
yeah, that's just a repeated bit.
The other
yeah.
bloke, Michael McDonald, doesn't, though, does he?
No.
It's the longest note in popular music.
Which one's
Michael
that?
McDonald, is it? I
What
would have
song's
thought
that?
the long...
Lovely Day.
No, that's not
Lovely Day.
Michael McDonald.
Is that not?
No, it's Bill Withers.
Oh, okay. Michael McDonald's really good too.
He is good, yeah.
Well, I'm thinking of Malcolm McDonald, Super Mac from the Arsenal team of the 1970s and Newcastle United.
Yeah, no, you lost me because you started mentioning football. Anyway, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. It's Bluebell Notes, episode 12.
12, yeah, amazing.
Yeah, that's like a year's worth in just over a year.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Well, actually, we've also got the extras, haven't we?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we have the
what do we call those?
Offbeats.
Offbeat, yeah.
We still don't even know.
Well, we know, it's just we can't remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we do the introductions?
I'm Josie, also known as Jo, half of Milton Hyde.
And I am James Tippler.
Is that it?
That's it. That's all you get. I've run out of nicknames.
All right. Neil Povey. I'm a podcaster and a broadcaster and a recovering teacher.
Oh, yeah. I'm also of Milton Hyde, of course.
You are indeed.
What I'd like to do, actually, is do a bit more of a detailed introduction of ourselves. And in a little while, when we start talking about the subject of this podcast,
okay.
and then that will give people an idea of a bit more where we're coming from.
Yeah, I guess so.
doesn't it?
Yeah, that I know. Yeah, I think we've all got interesting things to say about that. So, yeah. Well, if you're new to Bluebell Notes, it is a podcast about roots music, essentially, but it's kind of themed each time. And today we're going to be talking about women in music in very general terms, but obviously more specifically based on what our personal experiences are in the areas that we're involved in, which is why I guess we need to probably do a little bit more background about ourselves.
And just for clarification, throughout this podcast, when we talk about women in music, we're actually talking about women, people who identify as women and non-gender binary.
Yeah. So what have you been up to since the last time anyway? It doesn't feel that long.
We're still trying to move house.
Yeah.
How long is this podcast? Because we could tell you
I don't know.
where we're up to. Is that?
Were you trying to move house during episode 1?
I think probably were. Yeah, we almost certainly were.
I think the house was for sale, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, when did we write the song about moving house? It's still appropriate, but it doesn't.
We've done some nice gigs.
Doesn't feel quite so sad anymore.
No, true.
Been some gigs. We've had a Bluebell Roots, obviously.
Bluebell Roots. What else have we been doing? We've been practicing some old songs that we haven't played for a long time.
Well, that's
nice.
nice.
Been good fun.
And excitingly, in trying to find out how I played clarinet on something that we haven't played for ages, we went back through how we write songs. We do little recordings of them.
Yep.
Little sort of quick
little demos.
Yeah. And found one that we recorded about a year ago when we were at Purbeck Valley Folk Festival, just mucking around in the tent recording this. And it's a really good little sort of klezmer-style tune.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's very
sort
exciting.
Sort of klezmer ska thing.
Oh, well, there's a thing that you won't find on Spotify.
With a touch of reggae in there, isn't there?
Brilliant, that sounds good. I've been working a lot as well, actually. A lot of gigs for me.
Yes, end of term.
As a DJ, schools take up a lot of my time. Did 8 gigs in 4 days last week.
Whoa.
So I am still recovering from that. One of those actually was podcast related, actually. So I'm not not really a gig, I suppose, but it took up, as long as a gig takes up. So, So, okay, so we're going to be talking about women in music. We're going to have, we've got a lovely chat with Donna Canale, who was our guest at Bluebell Roots last time, which touches on this subject in quite some depth, actually, and a live track from her as well. So, let's hit the little noisy button and then get on with it.
Hit the right one.
Can't beat a bit of banjo.
Yeah, we need to get a better banjo. I think we need to get Phil Jones on the case.
Oh, that'd be good.
And record something.
Phil Jones of Long Way Home Productions.
Oh, is he of Long Way Home Productions?
Long Way Home Productions.
Isn't he our sponsor?
He's our sponsor.
Yes.
Thank you, Phil.
Bluebell Notes sponsor.
We'll give him a proper mention later. But he's a good banjo player.
Actually, sorry, I know that we're going completely out of order, but one thing we forgot to mention is with our other hat on, we've just designed Hatful of Rain's album cover.
I had a sneak preview.
We should have mentioned that.
Yeah, they've got an album launch coming up, haven't they?
They do.
At the Rope Tackle Arts Centre. Perhaps we'll give a shout for that one. We need to find out the date and so on. If we were prepared, we'd know all this ahead of time.
I know it's the 7th of August.
Oh, do you? Oh, very good.
I knew that too.
All I know about the 7th of August is that it's the day that the new fast food takeaway opens in Hailsham.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's imprinted on my teenagers' minds. Yeah, I'm not happy about it at all, but that's another thing.
We don't need to do the little music stab again. Should we just get straight on?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Our discussion this episode is about women in music, isn't it? And the positive elements, the negative elements, issues that women face in music.
Yeah, and I think obviously as a man, and Jim as well as a man,
Thank you.
I'm not sure that we have authority to talk about this from any other perspective from the outside, obviously, and how we see things. But it's not something that the issues that we're likely to talk about are not necessarily things that we've experienced personally.
Yeah.
We will be very much the if you like, the listeners in this conversation.
Yes, but the flip side of women's potentially negative experiences within, perhaps the live sector is men's behaviour.
Yeah,
and we can have things to say on that.
That's true, and I think what we can say as well is that we can have a lot to do with changing it, and I think, and actually, we have a lot of the responsibility for changing it. And when we talk about the issues, that will become a little bit more apparent.
So my take on this is coming from my own experience of having come into music very late in life. I sort of started in my 50s. Until then, I'd had very little involvement in music. I would do the occasional sort of cabaret style act as part of an annual review. I did a couple of open mics with Jim, but I came into music in my 50s not feeling like a musician, feeling that I was hanging on Jim's coattails.
Okay.
And that became apparent as a perception from other people, that although as I developed and I became a musician and I'm a songwriter, and I feel that we are equal within the partnership of Milton Hyde, it became apparent that people would see a married couple as being one talented, the other one coming along for the ride.
Right.
That's the reason that I changed my stage name. So instead of being Jim and Josie Tippler, we are now Jim Tippler and Josie Church.
Right,
no,
okay.
Joe Church.
Joe Church, yeah.
Or Joe Church and Jim Tippler,
Yeah.
as we have now found, putting emails sometimes as a bit of a positive discrimination, that I will get a reply when Jim doesn't necessarily.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting, isn't it? And Jim, from your point of view, obviously, you work in a partnership with Joe.
Yeah.
And so I guess you see those kind of things happening, or Joe will talk to you about them. But
yeah, I mean,
you have been a musician for longer, though, I suppose, as a performing musician.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, and going back to when we first had children, I would still be going out gigging with the band while Josie was at home looking after children.
Okay. Well, stereotypical, I suppose.
Totally stereotypical.
Yeah.
But that's what happened with us. Make no bones about it. So my perspective from it, Josie, we were talking about this earlier, and it's really odd because that's not how I ever saw our act. I only saw it as an equal partnership. Yeah, I'd written most of the songs at that point, because we needed stuff to get us going. But I never saw it any other way than 50-50 sort of equal partnership. And I never picked up on the fact that we weren't being treated as such.
Because you thought you were equal, you didn't look for any inequality happening.
No, not at all.
And I think a lot of that would have come from me, that I felt I wasn't equal because Jim had been in bands for so long.
Yeah.
But that changed as my confidence grew, as I realised, actually, I can stand up here and I can talk into the microphone. And I have this confidence about what I'm doing that I can play the clarinet, I can sing, and people come up to you afterwards and say, I really enjoyed that. I really didn't expect that from you.
Oh, the thing I would add would be that before you were coming out playing as the duo, as Milton Hyde, you were doing art demonstrations. And
Yes.
Josie could quite comfortably stand in front of a room full of 80 people and stand there and in front of them create a work of art.
Yep.
And talk about it, be funny and entertaining and engaging. And we haven't talked about this at all.
We haven't, no.
So I could see that Josie was perfectly capable and brilliant at doing this. And so that's probably why I never.
Yeah, and I think it was probably going into a different medium, going into performing on stage as a musician. I felt it was that.
It's a different world,
yeah,
if you like.
What is it? That imposter syndrome.
Right.
That's definitely what I felt.
And in terms of being a musician, you obviously did play the clarinet. You haven't just learned clarinet for this, have you?
No, when I learned clarinet at school, and then when Jim and I first met at college, we used to go out busking together.
Okay.
And then sort of later on in life, we did a bit of busking
Right.
together. So I have kind of carried it on.
Yeah.
But it's only since playing together that I've really developed it. And
Yeah.
I now found I can kind of sort of busk along with things.
But
as well.
I see that the point in the sense that you wouldn't necessarily consider yourself a musician. I've been playing guitar since I was 17, 18. I still would never consider myself a musician. I
Yeah.
write songs, I play along, so yeah, I can see the distinction, as it were. So, well, okay. So from my point of view, my involvement in this is I come from a background of teaching for 20, 25 years in education, and obviously it's primary education, and that is a world which is primarily women, even at the higher levels with management in infant schools and so on. So when I had my first job, everybody else I worked with, bar the caretaker, was a woman. And I suppose that may have had some kind of influence on the way that I thought. I don't know if I didn't think it did necessarily, but it's different in the sphere we're now in music, because it is much more dominated by men, either as performers or as people in the background doing sound and things like I do for our live gigs and things, and doing the podcast tech and so on. So I guess I see perhaps more inequality than I ever did see in my previous work. And also, I think just generally getting older, listening more to what my wife's experiences are, having a teenage daughter that's growing up as well, I'm now exposed to more of the inequalities and much more aware, I think, to think about what those inequalities were, whereas I wouldn't have done before. And very much like you, Jim, I think I probably just assumed everything was equal and everything was fine, which was the wrong way of doing it. So I guess I'm more thoughtful about it now. That's the sort of position I'm at, and in terms of trying to get things right and trying to do things right. So there's a little bit, because what we're going to do, we're going to have a listen to Donna Canale, an interview we had with Donna from Bluebell Roots, and there's a bit there where we sort of chat, and she talks about the techie kind of thing and talking to me at the beginning of the evening, and it is really, it did make me think when she mentioned it about, did I, at the point that we met and she started asking me questions, did I respond in a way which was maybe stereotypically male? Did I respond thinking she might not know what it is that we're doing? Did I try to convince her not to do this because it would have worked better my way or whatever? So it does make it still, I find myself having to check myself. So should we have a listen to what Donna had to say about this? We'll put the full interview with Donna, because it's more than about just the issues around women, because as we talk about the music and the songwriting and so on, and we'll put that into the Offbeat, the bonus episode. But this in the meantime is Donna talking to us after the last Bluebell Roots that we did.
We're here with Donna Canale, who is our main guest for the evening. And have you considered writing a musical based on all of those songs? I can see it.
It's so funny
on
you
stage.
say that. I have never considered it, but you're not the first person who said that to me. I had another, I was doing something at the Balham, was that well-known venue? It's a comedy venue. And I was there.
The Jongleurs?
No. Anyway, it'll come back to me.
Yeah.
See. But I was there doing some of my stuff, and the guy was saying, you know, it's a musical.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
walking musical.
Yeah.
And I was
there's
just
comedy in it
embarrassed.
as well. There's and obviously pathos, comedy.
A lot of
It's all
pathos,
there,
yeah.
isn't there? Yeah, it's all there.
Well, if you don't, you got to laugh sometimes.
For
'cause
sure.
Yeah.
Life can be ridiculous.
But you deliver it in that way that you're constantly apologising for it being sad or miserable, but actually it's also, there's an uplifting element to it. I think the way that it's presented.
There's it's just sometimes I tend to be a room reader as an artist, and I look at a lot of people's faces, and then I start to get a little bit worried about.
Oh, the resting bitch face.
Yeah, there's sort of the resting. And I think it's a bit of an ADHD thing, but I'm really hyper focused on what other people, what they're looking like in the gig.
You're saying that about ADHD.
Don't mention the ADHD
No.
thing.
Sorry.
I only recently got diagnosed, but one of the big
I'm
things is
joking.
about rejection sensitivity, and you're hyper aware of, are people liking this?
Yes.
You need that response from people sometimes, don't you? Need to feel like I need some sign that it's there.
But you know what? It's not strong enough to make me want to write lots of happy songs.
Okay.
I mean, I've got some songs that make me very happy, and actually singing some sad songs makes me very
God,
happy.
wouldn't it be boring if every song was a happy song? I mean,
It'd be like the Lego movie.
You need the light and shade, don't you? You definitely do.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, life is life and light and shade. And, you're talking about women, and, it's quite a bumpy ride being a girl. And in this industry as well, been in this industry for decades and decades, and it's a bumpy old road.
I mean, just the content of the songs reflect the fact that it's a bumpy ride being a woman, full stop. But then you say, in the industry, there are different challenges than might face solo singer-songwriters who are male. Could you give us some sort of example of how that manifests itself?
Well, I fight it a lot of the time, and I can't say that this is the women thing, but often I do find that people tend to make an assumption that I'm either I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm how can I put this without it sounding really obnoxious? Okay, so they'll do things like offer to tune up for me, or they'll offer to set up for me, or whatever, which actually is a bit of a luxury. It'd be nice, but no thanks. Perfectly capable of doing it. And also my own perception. It might be a generational thing, because young women they wield a lot more power now. But my generation, in terms of role models, there weren't so many British role models and female songwriters as there are now. But I don't know if I do it to myself. I put myself down, or whether it's because the industry tends to imagine that the men are already. I teach boys and I teach girls, and boys are fearless. Men are far, far less obviously fearful and anxious. And that's not to say they aren't. I don't want to say it's a misogynistic world. I don't want to say it's a chauvinistic world, because that's not fair. Because I've actually, over the last few years, I've been treated really nicely. But when I was in my 20s working as a singer, working with lots of bands and doing big band stuff and everything, I was very much supposed to stay in my corner. I was supposed to stay in my own box. And I think where the subtle change is now is that I don't think we have to stay in our boxes so much. The younger generation of singer-songwriter women are really punching to get out of there, and I celebrate that, because I've got 2 daughters that are trying to do that too.
And you mentioned being a mum to 2 daughters. How much do you think that plays into your perception of how women are treated?
It's not so much that I'm seeing them have a lot of freedom. I'm seeing them not have quite the same barriers as I have, but what the impact that they've had on me, to be honest, is not watching them and seeing what they're doing and how their generation is I have got to a point now with them being young women where I'm thinking, right, I need to set them an example, and I need to push to show them that they need to push. But I didn't have the courage at 22. I was out working and doing things, but I didn't have quite the courage to... It was all about, you've got to be perfect. One of the things, you've got to be perfect. If you're not perfect, you're not good enough, and therefore you might as well not bother. I'm inspired to do that because of the young women that I have raised.
So, we've come across some misogyny, haven't we?
Yes.
I
certainly have. Yeah, if we've arrived at a gig and Jim's been starting to get things set up, and I've tried to talk to somebody, and I was just getting nothing back at all. It was almost like, where's the bloke love? That kind of thing.
Yeah, you can have a bit of that. But the minute you start, if you do talk tech, or I think one of the things that and you play an instrument, which is great, so you've got a fair bit of musicianship under your belt, and I think, do you think that helps? Josie?
Yeah, probably, yes.
Because I've always noticed, the minute I start talking about like music, and I know what I'm talking about, I think, don't you find, they can have a subtle effect on how you are perceived. If you make sure you know your tech and you know your music.
Yes, I've only recently started doing that because with the clarinet I've got a little pickup in it, and I now know what a jack plug is and what a DI is, but before that I hadn't got a clue.
If you can if you can show a little bit of geekery as a woman, Neil, sorry I'm saying this, but if you can be a little bit of a geek, you're going to be taken slightly more seriously.
I think
that's
you're right.
in my experience.
You mentioned like singing with big bands and stuff.
Yeah.
Was the songwriting always there at the same time as that, or did that come along later, or was it before?
It's sort of run a little bit parallel over the years. I made a decision that I wanted to be in music regardless. And so I would work for anybody and I would sing absolutely anything. When I was really young, I used to play piano. I had a piano in my room. I've not been taught to play piano, but I had a piano in my bedroom, and I didn't realize at the time, but I was improvising. Yeah. And I would improvise to a point where we'd get quite, well, here's a surprise, would get quite dark. And to the point where I'd spook myself and have to go back downstairs. Because,
I don't like what I did there.
And then I kind of ignored I wrote some lyrics to things. I was in a band when I was 16, and some of them have still gone on. One's been working with Heatwave and Midshore over the years, and different. I've come across lots of different people. But anyway, I did to try and make it. I ignored myself for quite a while, and then took up songwriting again because I was collaborating with. I didn't mention him, but my first husband, who was a sweetheart. But we would write together. And we did some lovely stuff. We recorded some lovely stuff as well. But again, it kind of got shelved because I needed to make a living, and that's when I got involved in a lot of jazz, and I had studied jazz at college, and I big band touring and more big band touring, and then session singing, and just lots of different things. And then when I met my second husband, he was quite hard on me about stuff like that, and I lost my creativity completely. And then after we'd split up and everything, and then I thought, I'm going to buy my girls, they're going to spend their money on guitars. And I thought, well, I'd better write a song then to show them. And that's when it all started. So that was back in about 2015 or so. And so the last 10 years, it just all kind of happened. But one thing that did happen is I stopped teaching in a London music college, and I think you can genuinely give away your mojo. And when I stopped teaching in this particular college, that's when all the songwriting came back.
Oh, okay.
Because that was like giving away my energy.
Yeah, okay.
And it's quite a selfish pursuit songwriting, because it involves a lot of sitting around and
Yeah,
just
I would agree with that.
trying things.
Yeah.
I think you're right, though, in terms of the giving away your mojo, because teaching is essentially a creative process, I think. I know you're imparting knowledge and skills and so on, but actually a lot of your creativity comes out when I taught for 25 years, and I think you're absolutely right. And I think since I stopped teaching, my creativity's gone into different places. And so I think you're right about giving away your mojo, your energy. That's a very important point.
I think it does. And it was almost instant.
Right.
Finished a term, sat around for a week or two and went, I've got songs.
Something's got to come out.
Yeah.
It's a big jazz influence on your writing, isn't it?
So one of my songs off my first album, the only album I've got around to recording so far.
Which is lovely. We've really enjoyed listening to that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, there's one called When the Sun Goes Down. It's the last one. And I was literally playing it round and round with a cassette. I recorded myself scatting.
Yeah.
So it was and the deals and the wheels and the comfortable chair.
Yeah.
And so those scats turned
Turn
into
into
words.
words.
They were already there.
That's fascinating.
So generally speaking, I don't start with a lyric. I don't even start with a melody. I start with something.
It's almost a sound.
Yes,
Yeah, just a sound.
texture even, and then I improvise. And I think that's what I've got jazz to thank for.
Let's bring it forwards to the last couple of years, because you've only been in this part of the country for a short while. And you're sort of a little east of here.
A little bit, not much.
It's
Wee
just
bit
down the
along
road.
the road.
How do you find it in Hastings?
I wake up every morning and I feel grateful. And it hasn't stopped. Every single day I get up and I think, I am so lucky.
It's a music town.
But it's not just a music town. It's just it's a town with a lot of spirit. I'm St Leonard's, but just this whole area, there's something magical about it, and I've never experienced so many connections and instant connections and friendships and people just being very friendly, but also being very generous in terms of their spirit. And of course, the main thing is the sea. My relationship with the sea runs very deep. As an Aberdeen lass who grew up with the Italian ice cream on the seafront and all that.
Last time we met you over in Hastings, you were talking about becoming a sort of a roving troubadour.
Yes.
Yes. Is that still a plan? Do you still want to go travelling with
I've just given up one job, and because everybody's still got to pay the bills. But, I'm slowly building up, little connections, networks. We've talked about, camper vans and things, and that's still on the agenda. But I just remember when I was about 21, a palmist person, I didn't ask her for this, she grabbed my hand and she says, "Ooh, you'll have a hard life," she said. But you'll get where you want to go by the end of it. And she said, and you'll have two girls really close together.
Oh, wow.
So by that time I pulled my hand away. But then when I was pregnant with the twin girls, and they had twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, and they were born very early, 32 weeks, and they nearly died.
In size.
Yeah. I just thought that it's going to work. They're going to live because that woman told me that I'd have two girls close together. And then, of course, because she said I've had a hard life, and thought, actually, I blooming have. Yeah. But I'll get where I want by the end of it. And I'm thinking, right, here we go.
Yeah.
So that's what that's all about. So yes, it's my intention. So if anybody's selling a camper van for less than 12k, then it doesn't have to be all singing or dancing.
Something you can sleep in overnight. Yeah.
It'd be
like your little
your
caravan
micro
that you
campers or your little caravan.
Well, we slept in the back of our car the other night.
Did you?
Yeah, Jim's made a little bed for it, haven't
Really
you?
tall. How did you manage that?
It's all right.
It's a long car.
Yeah, it's
This is
an
estate.
estate car. Vauxhall Astra. Other cars
that's
are
it.
available.
I don't need a camper van then. I just need a long car. I'm only 5'1".
You're not joining us in our Vauxhall Astra. It's not that big.
No, because I'm wide, you see. I might be little, but I'm wide, so
We've got a roof box.
We'd be... I'd fit in a roof box. Just put a window in it.
So is that the main priority now? The kind of looking to sort of start that,
I
or
think,
are
it's
think?
cause I've sung so many different things. I've had a couple of pop hits in the charts, which I was the voice of. I wasn't the body, I was the voice.
That's interesting. That supposedly doesn't happen anymore, does it? But I think it probably does.
And done a lot of things, but I do find myself, even though I'm quite happy to go and sing jazz tunes and collaborate with other people, that's lovely. But I think I'm at that age now where I think, I just want to do what I do on my terms. Now, that may or may not work out, but if I'm true and I believe that that's what I'm supposed to be doing, then it will happen. So there's a kind of inevitability to it.
I think we'll draw to a close. Donna, thank you so much for sticking around and chatting to us.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and it's a pleasure to know you all.
That was Donna Canale. We had a lovely long chat after Bluebell Roots last time, but I found that fascinating.
It was interesting what she was talking about, the being the geek, but that was about showing professionalism and basically being confident. And I wouldn't necessarily say that is a gender issue, but perhaps women feel the necessity to be more professional and do a bit more research than a man would necessarily. I'm not sure.
I guess the idea that feels like she'd have to be more on top of her game than a man would at the same level, as it were. So that's an inequality in a way,
but she was talking
isn't
about the perception that she felt people assumed that she didn't know what she was doing.
Yes, that's true. And so she's almost having to overly make up for it by starting out by saying those things to people.
Yes.
And definitely it was the case that when she did say, I think I'd like to play through my amp, I was already on the back foot a little bit, as I mentioned there, because we had the new mixer, using your mixer. And I was like, oh. But I thought, okay, I'll just go with it, because actually Donna knows what's going to sound best, and I hope I got that right. I think if I hadn't, she might have said, actually, while we were chatting, that you could have said this, that or the other. But you're right, though, in the sense that I think it's probably something that she feels she has to do that it helps to make it just dispel the perceptions that somebody that you're dealing with might have.
But I've as I was saying, I've now got this a pickup for my clarinet, but I find the more I try and find out about the technical side of things, the less enjoyable it is just getting up on stage and playing.
Right.
I like to get up there and think, there's a sound guy there, he knows what he's doing, or she knows what she's doing, because we have had sound women as well. And I trust them, but our experience is not every sound person is brilliant.
Okay.
So it's
I
good
mean, the main one you work with is rubbish.
It's good to know a certain amount, but I don't want to know too much.
Just as you could use the term sound engineer.
Sound engineer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I have to say I prefer sound engineer, because I love the word engineer. It sounds much more technical.
Yeah.
But what about you, Jim? I mean, have you ever experienced any issues with somebody assuming you don't know what you're talking about with a sound engineer? Or have you ever come across such an incompetent one?
Well, we're going a bit off topic, but
I know.
Yes.
Well, it's the difference between how Joe would experience it and how you would experience it, I suppose, that highlights an inequality.
What I wanted to say, actually, was ask you, really, don't really want to be specific and name names or anything, but because to my knowledge, and we've only had one experience that was really memorable. Yeah. With somebody who was a little bit misogynistic. If you can be a little bit misogynistic, I don't know.
I think you are or you aren't. It's one or a zero.
It's only one thing that I've taken as being because I was a woman rather than because I was new to the scene or, dare I say it, old. I found it more of an age thing. Rather than a sex thing.
And what can you talk about what that experience was, or would it give too much away?
It's kind of the assumption that if I haven't been in the business for many years and I'm coming in at this age, that I'm too old to have understood what's involved with performing on stage.
Yeah,
that's the kind of experience I have had.
Yeah, and I guess maybe you haven't, also being a similar age.
We had a gig once where we met a performer who, I think he was having a bit of a bad day. He was quite chatty to me, but didn't want to talk to Josie.
Okay.
Going back to Donna's interview there, she was talking about setting examples for her girls who are starting out in the business. And I do feel a bit of a responsibility now for setting an example, getting up there and saying that, yes, you can do this, but not necessarily because I'm a woman, but because I'm at this age, because I came into it so late in life. But there are a lot of people out there, aren't there? Like we had Erica at the beginning of the year, who has come into music having been a professional in the business world, and she's now decided to come in. She's still a mother. She's still looking after children. She's now setting an example that, yes, you can do this. You can be a mother. You can be a professional. You can have a life, and you can still do music. And she is being successful out there.
That kind of, this is Erica Olsen, of course, because
Yes.
we're going back a couple of, we also had Erica Stinkham, and we're specifically talking about Erica Olsen, but she's the one that sort of talked about the portfolio career idea, which we
Yes,
mentioned in the
yeah.
last episode as well. And so I mean, is like you say, is that an age thing? Is it a sex thing? Is it because, you've reached a certain point in your life that you feel the ability to set an example? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I will ever reach that age. I still feel like a child inside. Obviously, I'm in some way competent. I never feel that way. Even with what we're doing now, with what I do as a DJ and so on, I don't think I ever feel 100% competent and confident. I'll look back at it afterwards and go, I did a good job. That was great. But I'm not sure about the setting an example idea side of it. I don't know. But
there are a lot of inspiring women performers, because we're mainly talking about performing, aren't we?
That's a point actually we're going to make. Actually, we're talking more mostly about the live music sphere and grassroots
Yes.
music with roots musicians. Yeah, particularly, not necessarily in the recording side of it or anything like that. But
And one of the things I've found lovely is going to open mics and folk clubs. A lot of the performers who get out and perform solo are women. There's this perception, isn't there, that folk clubs are middle-aged bloke with a guitar or older bloke with a guitar. And now you get a lot of women get up there, they'll sing a cappella, or a lot of the time they're playing a totally different instrument. So they are setting examples of a different way of performing at folk clubs. And I think that's brilliant to see so many women out there, that I don't know if that is a fairly recent thing or if it's always been that way in folk clubs.
I think so. I mean, going right back to the folk club revival of the sort of the early 60s. Yes, there were big male names, but there were some amazing women who were involved. Who Peggy Seeger is one of your heroines, of course. And what I wanted to say also was just casting my mind back to the gig we did a couple of months ago at the Pavilion, where we played, and Daria Kulesh played, and the Kimberleys played. So we've got a female bias in that lineup, me and the other Jim. Also, there was a gym bias. We had two gyms, of course. So
I mean, did two gyms make three women? I don't
know. We might have been quite tall. Our combined height might have been the same height as the three.
I don't know. Daria's quite tall.
She is quite tall.
Yeah.
But
there was more of a bias towards the performance, certainly.
Talking to Isabel Kimberley, I know that she has had issues in the past. In fact, I was speaking to her then. They used to go out as a brilliant duo, Bruise.
As in, like, what you'd get on your arm if someone hit you with a cricket ball.
They were fantastic sort of indie. Jim played drum kit and Isabel played electric guitar, and as you know, she's got the most amazing voice for folk. But
it's
also
like the opposite way round of the White Stripes.
Actually. But she would regularly come up against issues of sexism and chauvinism and misogyny. She was telling me in that setup.
So it might
not
be
so much in the folk world.
Yeah, it might
these
be
days.
less prevalent in the folk world. There might be a slightly
Perhaps.
more even bias.
I think even now she's experiencing it from time to time. It depends on the venue.
Yeah.
I'm sure she won't mind me saying, but she's a smoker, so often she'll go outside for a fag in an interval and have other conversations that aren't necessarily around music, of course. So as a touring professional musician, she is experiencing this stuff on a fairly regular basis. And I know another musician who's wrote a post about this is Katie Spencer, who's a brilliant songwriter and guitarist. I think she's from Hull originally. I follow her quite a bit, and she had a thing or two to say about this a little while ago. And I'm sure many other touring female musicians, do come across. All I'm saying is that things aren't necessarily as rosy as we would like them to be.
No, I think you're right. I think it's a long way to go. I think if there wasn't a long way to go, we wouldn't be talking about it.
No.
I think in that sense, and I think it's certainly something that, although we might, when you get International Women's Day come around, for example, and I've played DJ gigs for International Women's Day, and whenever it happens, if I've put a post on Facebook, I say, "Oh, when's International Men's Day?" When you go, "Well, it's November the whatever," and there is one.
Yeah.
And similarly with Pride, you'll get people saying, "Well, how come we have to celebrate this? Why can't we celebrate being straight?" and so on. And which is totally missing the point, because all the time there is inequality. You need to be talking about creating equality, as it were.
You do,
so you're right. It's not. Although things may be improving, and things are certainly different, there's still not. It's not a level playing field.
We can talk about Bluebell Roots, can't we? And our lineup for this year, in fact.
Yeah, because you were saying that it was positive discrimination.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm usually the one that handles the bookings for Bluebell Roots, and it was apparent that we were like a lot of other places. Most of our guests were male.
Yeah,
so we did sort of positive. Yeah, I have to say we did positively discriminate in the sense that we wanted to get a bigger female representation, and that wasn't difficult because it's difficult in the sense that we weren't getting as many approaches. But the approaches that we were getting and the people that we knew were brilliant, and we would have an amazing evening, which we've had.
Rather than positive discrimination, is it more redressing the balance? Perhaps is it more that really rather than?
Yeah, it is. But I think you have to do that quite positively.
Yeah, I think
yes.
so.
When you're booking 6 months and you've got a lot of men having approached and not many women having approached, you want to sort of even things out. So you're going to discriminate against some of those men who have applied to play.
I think it's a reflection as well of the wider cultural scene, in the sense that over the last 10 years or so, we've seen a lot of discussions about, women on festival bills, on the big festivals, who are the main acts, who are the headline acts and so on. And similarly, women on panel shows. That was a big issue. There was a good 6 months of chat about that on, how many women are there on this panel? You've got 4 men and 1 woman and so on. And so those things are being addressed in a sense. And this, I guess, is a reflection of that. So,
could I just mention a positive thing
for
about
sure.
Being a woman in songwriting is that I feel my personal experiences improve my songwriting. So I think being a mother, as we'll hear from Donna's track, you have these huge feelings of love for your children. Men do as well, but I think it's possibly easier to express that as a woman in song. And also, I think we have different experiences in the world, in our lives. For instance, menopause. Jim actually wrote our song about the menopause, but sort of in collaboration with me and thinking about how I'd expressed it to you. So I think that is a very positive thing about being a woman in music, that you can express your own experiences in music in a different way.
Okay, yeah, it's a different outlook, as it were.
Yes.
From positive, and as you say, Donna mentions that specifically because she's talking about her daughters in the song, which is another one of those songs that you can bring you to tears very quickly. Yeah. So that is a positive thing. And there's a different spin on things.
I can't think of, or I can't see a man having done a performance like Donna did for Bluebell Roots, which was laying bare all of her raw emotions at these different elements of her life, these different periods that she was going through in her life. That was a very personal thing, wasn't it?
It was
the
quite
whole
unique.
Performance.
Yeah.
And I can't see a man doing that. And I think it's something that only a woman possibly could do.
She storified it as well, didn't she? She put it into it was almost not necessarily chronological, but it was told as a story, and the set list was put together very specifically and very cleverly. Yeah. I think she talks about that in the extended interview about how that works. So very much a positive thing. Is it fair to say that only a woman could do that? Or are we going to get the Men's Rights activists on it?
Yeah, from my personal experience, I think, yes, I can't see a man doing that. I would love to know if somebody has.
I think a man could possibly put their feelings down in their own way, but not in a uniquely way that, you know, they would do it in a different way to how a woman would do it. I think.
And I think it's fair
maybe they wouldn't go so deep. Maybe it would come from a different place.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to accept that there are differences as well. And if there weren't, we wouldn't be having these conversations. Now, I know we're going to hear a live track from Donna before we wrap up this episode. Is there anything else that we had on our list that we wanted to specifically? Oh, I know what we wanted to do. We were going to do some pointers, weren't we? Because there's a lot of support out there for women in the industry. Jim, you talked about MU, for example.
Oh yeah, actually, no, it wasn't about the support that I was highlighting. It was a weird one, really, in the sense that we are talking about this specifically to our sector of music, which is sort of folk, roots, acoustic, singer-songwriter sort of area. I looked at the MU did a census in conjunction with Help Musicians, and it was one of the biggest censuses. Censuses.
I go censuses.
Censuses.
Yes, nice to say.
That has ever been done in this sort of area, and you can't really draw many conclusions from it in terms of our sector because it varies an awful lot from one genre to another. For instance, in hip hop, the percentage of women who are involved in that is much lower, for instance, than in other sectors.
Sure.
Obviously, I can't comment on that because I've got no experiences of dealing with that.
No, it's interesting to look at, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is an interesting thing that it varies. There's obviously, you know, whatever difference, cultural, political, whatever differences there are, it does vary. And that's going to vary from folk and roots music through to classical music, where obviously you look at an orchestra,
a string section
in an orchestra. Also, there's you look at bands that might have, or acts that might have a string quartet backing an acoustic track.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it almost invariably it would be all female.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is. I wouldn't like to say. But
that would tie in with my question of the show, which
good.
Shall I do that now, or
have you thought of one?
I've got something else to mention first.
Yeah, let's do something else, and we'll do the question after we've heard Donna's track, I think.
Yes.
So, does it sound like we're making this up as we're going along? Does it?
Yeah,
hopefully.
Possibly.
Good. That's what it's meant to sound like.
Going on from support available, I've actually looked on LinkedIn, and if you just search on LinkedIn for women in music, there are quite a few groups on there, and obviously it's mainly business-based because LinkedIn is a business networking. And there's a lot out there of women supporting each other in music. And that's just a lovely thing to see.
Yeah.
So, if you want to find out more about that side of things and the support available, just have a search on LinkedIn.
Okay, good. Well, thank you, Joe, because I think it's important that you were the sort of main voice of this. I think, but we have a lot to do as men, I think, to make sure that this becomes equal. Eating biscuits on mic is probably not part of the solution.
Can you hear me?
This is a chocolate. What are they?
Digestives.
Dark chocolate digestives.
Yeah, I mean they're interminably delicious. Unfortunately, so once you've had a bite of one. Okay, so we're going to hear from Donna Canale. Now, this was a beautiful track which she mentions in the interview, written for her daughters, and it's called "Waltz for the Girls."
So, what saved me? My girls, of course, my daughters, and this is actually on. You'll find this on Spotify. You'll find it on Bandcamp, and I think this is what. This song managed to get me to I was able to charm my way into Bluebell Roots with this happy song. It doesn't get any sadder because it was on I was on the up from here. So it's called Waltz for the Girls. This is a song for the children, for mothers with wholehearted view. You only take what's been given, and this gift's been passed on to you. It's one thing to live with conditional love. God knows how that feels, I do too. babies were born to cut through all pretending. That bond will always stay true. I love you, yes, I love you, till the moon and your stars stop spinning. I love you, yes, I love you, round the planets and the universe, twice past the Milky Way and back round to tuck you up, untangle your covers and kiss you goodnight and say, I love you. I love you. Now that you're grown and we're older, this is my message to you. Keep all your children beside you, 'cause they'll have their families too. It's one thing to feel unconditional love, so I want you to pass it on through. Tell all your babies the stories of love that I tried so hard to teach you. Tell them I love you, I love you, till the moon and your stars stop spinning. I love you, yes, I love you, round the planets and the universe, twice past the Milky Way and back round to tuck you up, tangle your covers and kiss you goodnight and say, I love you. I love you. Off to bed we go. Off to bed we go. Night, night, sleep tight. Off to bed we go. Thank you.
Donna Canale live
Oh,
at Bluebell Roots.
so beautiful, isn't it?
It was lovely, and actually, the more I hear it, the more I want to cry.
Yeah.
Because I listen more to the lyrics the next times around. Generally speaking, the music hits me first, and I don't always get lyrics straight away. And but then afterwards, I hear it again, and and I'm a dad to teenage children. I've got a teenage daughter. She's been away in London overnight after going to a stadium gig last night, and then walking back from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to the Emirates Stadium, where their travel lodge was, through the middle of London because they couldn't get on the train. So, but I'm going to, she's about to go away to university, so I've got to deal with a lot worse than that yet to come. But this idea of, I love that idea of the, the parenting relationship with a child. It's beautiful. Yeah, so thank you, Donna, for that.
The letting go is hard, isn't it?
The letting go. Yeah, you've done it 3 times, haven't you? So, I haven't done it once yet. I shall be. And if you ever sell this place, you're never going to be here for me to come around and cry. Because I'm going to have to travel all the way over to the other side.
You're going to have to get to know the new owners.
Yeah. So we could write that in the contract, actually.
Yeah, we could. Right, we're going to have your question, Joe. Let's do that.
Oh, with the brand new music stab.
Well, Joe is going to record that, and I'm not going to go. So you're going to have. I hope you've transcribed exactly what I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
And that's what you're going to play.
Clarinet version.
Because I'm going to need a songwriting credit.
So here it is. My question of the week.
Month.
Show.
Episode. Question of the show. Yeah.
So here it is. My question of the show. Did you learn to play an instrument at school, and do you still play that instrument? Because I think it'd be interesting to know if you just carried on being musical, if you still play that instrument, if it's inspired you, or if that one actually really put you off music.
Very interesting.
Go on.
Me. I did, but weirdly, it was clarinet, and I gave it up.
Really?
Yeah, I learned
No
clarinet
way.
at school. However, we could, and I won't do it now. But when we're talking about the answers to this question, I've got a lot to say and a lot of thoughts about what learning music can do for you in the wider sense of education. As a teacher, as an educationalist, and I think it's massively beneficial to learn music.
I think we covered a little bit of that, didn't we?
We did.
In one of the earlier podcasts.
We did,
But I
definitely.
think it's also the benefit of if you're learning an instrument, sometimes at school you get to perform it on stage. And I think the performing element is also really
there are
important.
so many things. I genuinely, it can help with maths.
Yes.
There you go.
What did you learn at school?
I learned clarinet. And I had a woman teacher.
Did you?
I did.
My teacher was called Bill Haley.
No way.
Really, it wasn't that Bill Haley, but he was called Bill
Oh.
Haley, Mr. Haley, over in the church hall opposite the school at Willingdon.
Bill Haley.
Yeah, so there you go. Did you
What?
learn an instrument at
Oh,
school?
yes, I did. Yeah. It was the... I had violin lessons.
Did you?
Yeah, did, yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't have said that. No.
Yeah, I really enjoyed them, actually. I really enjoyed
Most of
them.
the
And
family didn't.
Strange you didn't end up in a string quartet.
But no, I mean, I had an ear for it,
Mm-hmm.
but I just can't get on with sheet music.
No.
And that was what was on my reports, that he was, he's definitely got an ear for it, and makes a nice sound and everything, but really needs to knuckle down and learn to read music. Otherwise he won't do anything.
we should do a whole episode on school reports.
Yeah, it's all down to exams,
I
isn't
think
it?
Jim
I had
and
a
I will
female-
find ours are very, very similar.
I had a woman teacher as well.
Did you? Did you?
violin
My
teacher.
music teacher was a woman, but my clarinet teacher was.
Her name was Hayley Bill.
I know that would be amazing.
I
Wouldn't
know,
it?
Hayley Williams.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so if you've experienced of learning an instrument at school, and if you still do it, or if you didn't do it, or whatever the experience is, comment below the podcast wherever you're listening. We want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, Long Way Home Productions, Phil, and on his lovely boat over in Shoreham. Get in touch with them if you've got something. They're doing a lot of stuff on getting out and about and recording in the community at the moment, so that's something that they are very keen to do and record, take the recording to you, so thank you to them. In the Offbeat episode, we've got lots of other stuff coming up. We've got another track from Donna Canale, we've got a live track from Bluebell Roots from Nigel Wesson, and we'd love we'll hopefully talk about your comments on this episode, so make sure you comment and we can include that in the Offbeat. We'd love to help that inform the discussion, and also, you're hoping to chat to somebody?
Yeah, I'm hoping to chat to Katie Spencer, who I mentioned earlier in the show.
Okay.
Yeah, so put out some feelers to ask questions from women in music, so hope to include some of those.
Yeah, and for me, it's fingers crossed we'll have a few words from Roxanne de Bastian as well, who we've had play live before, and I know she's done some things around this area, so it'd be good to have those. But until then, that's it from me, Neil Povey.
Me, Jim Tibbler.
And me, Josie Tibbler.
We will see you for the next Bluebell Roots in about a month's time, roughly. Something
knows?
like that. Yeah, never know, do we?
Bluebell Notes podcast was brought to you courtesy of Long Way Home Productions. At your place or ours, together we'll make your music really shine.